living in reaction. So there's an expression here. We call it living in reaction, okay? And what living in reaction means, I'll give you the basic rundown. Here's some examples of living in reaction. Not knowing, lacking a crystal clear concept of 1, who you are, 2, what you value, 3, what you're grateful and appreciative for, 4, how your emotions work, 5, what you really want out of life, and 6, why certain influences are positive or corrupting. Most people in society, when we talk chodes, if you want to get into like, okay, so Jeffy gave like the really glorious version of what a chode is. Well, here I'm giving you almost, an expanded version, a more scientific version. Chodes, what's that?
Inner chode.
Yeah, your inner chode. Chodes, most of the time, chodely characteristics. Don't know who they are. Don't know what they value. They don't know what they're appreciative for, so they're dissatisfied. They don't know how their emotions work. They don't know they have no vision out of life, and they don't know why certain influences are corrupting them and which ones are positive. Okay? That's what living in reaction is, and as a result, their mind is like blowing around like a reeds in the wind. They are just scattered. They're missing that center. It's well suited for a peon, not for you. The bottom line is a couple things. Number one, if this is kind of nerd talk here, but look, if your sub-communication is really what's attracting women, if that's what really matters, then you've got to ask yourself, what is the best way for me to be living my life? How are the decisions that I'm making affecting my sub-communication? In other words, say that you go out and get elective plastic surgery. Say that you go out and get, you're going out, purchasing things to try to impress people, stuff like that. Even though you might be on the surface level helping yourself, on the deeper level, you're establishing a pattern where you're constantly living up to other people's standards. In other words, you're establishing a pattern where you are living in reaction. And that pattern that you're establishing through those behaviors that seem innocent are basically screwing you up. They're messing you up. So whenever you're making a decision about how you're living your life, think to yourself, look, is this making me more confident? Is it connecting me to my self-esteem? Or is this really just distancing me from who I'm meant to be? And if it's distancing you from who you're meant to be, don't do it. All right? Don't compromise your values. Don't compromise yourself. When you do that, you become more centered, more attracted to women, and glory ensues. How about the magic pill, guys? Social conditioning, in terms of this stuff here, most guys come in looking for a magic pill. And what that means is this. Human beings are always looking for shortcuts. That's our nature. We want the shortcut. We want the fastest, easiest, most effective way of getting things done. We don't want to have to put in time. We don't like slow, gradual progress. That stuff is not appealing. What we really want is to be enhanced as quickly as possible. Ego enhancement. In advertising, you see all this kind of things. Look, generally speaking, you know how most people, like when you study advertising, most people's general self-image is like, I'm a little fucking troll. I'm like that little shit from Lord of the Rings. What's his name? Gollum, right? A lot of people's self-image, because they live in the society, is like a little Gollum, and they want the ring, right? They want to be enhanced, okay? The precious, right? They want the precious, And so that's why you'll see like marketing headlines like sneak away with these tactics, right? Like you're sneaking away with them, right? To get the edge, right? All those bigger people, but you're going to sneak away with these new tactics that you learn. Or you'll see, and they want enhancement, right? People want to fuck over their neighbor. They want to be better than the next man, right? They want to be enhanced. They want to stand out, okay? And so, again, the media, the demand will always be met by the supply. If people in general have those kinds of mindsets because of the way society is going, the supply will come in to meet the demand. So generally speaking, when it comes to pickup, again, the market just comes, the demand comes in, or the supply comes in to meet the demand. Most people, first of all, don't recognize where there's a problem. Let me tell you something. Unless you're capable of walking up to any woman with complete confidence and being outgoing without even thinking about it, there's work to be done. That's a fact. Unless you're at a level where you're able to be outgoing and walk up to a woman and really offer value and be expressive and be unstifled and be your quote-unquote be yourself and shoot the shit and have a good time, if you're not capable of doing that, there's work to be done. But you see, most people don't want to think about that because you know why? It's harder to think about, isn't it? It's harder to look at the deeper issues. It's hard to face the complexities of what that would entail to really do that. So what do most people want? They want the tactics immediately. That's human nature. First, we look for tactics. We get initial quick fix. Later, when we realize it didn't get us the result we want, we then look for the principles. The Blueprint program is a book of principles. It's a program about principles. You know, you come in, you need the magic pill. Look, the Blueprint, the average person, if this is the first program they ever watch, they can't deal with it because they're like, just give me something to say, okay? So then you go, okay, fine, here's what to say. Go say it. So they go say it, they go, okay, well, what's next now? Okay, well, say this. Oh, what's next now? Okay, say this. Okay, well, I ran out of stuff to say. What do I say now? It's like, dude, you know what? Even if you had everything to say, she's still not going to sleep with you, even if she was giggling and laughing. So that's why we, dilate our perception and we look at principles, okay? But see, when we think about the magic pill, and here's a concept about human nature that you must understand. Anytime that you're not using something, it weakens. So in other words, if you don't use your muscles, they shrink. If you don't use your brain, it turns into a useless prune. You guys remember coming back from summer vacation, you try to write on the piece of paper and you can't remember how to do it anymore? Ask you to do a bit of math. Any of you guys play sports, you take the off season, you come back, you've lost your ability to play at the level that you left at. Did you know that even if you go into outer space, that when you come back from space, this is one of the challenges with long-term space travel, when you come back from outer space, your bones have lost density. Think about that. One of the biggest challenges with sending somebody across the galaxy is not even, let alone the challenge of sending someone across the galaxy, is that their bones, because there's no gravity, will just completely lose density. So then when they get out, I don't even know what that would look like. They just right? That's what would happen. So if you really think about that, people generally, though, want to use as least energy as possible. Why have we evolved to want to use the least amount of energy as possible? Why?
Conserve energy.
Must conserve energy. Any species that does not conserve energy, generally speaking, is more likely to get weeded out. So we as a species want to conserve energy. This is why we get lazy. If we don't see the immediate motivation to do something, we don't want to do it. And that is why magic pills seem appealing. And to the average person, the average guy, real social dynamics, I think definitely attracts a much higher quality. When I look in this room, I see fucking cool, regular, chill guys. If this was 5-6 years ago, I saw a lot of very, very hard case, self-hating people. And because in many ways, when we were teaching a more tactic-based approach, the type of people that we were attracting were the Dungeons and Dragons nerd. He wants to sit in his house playing World of Warcraft, sort of emerge from the shadows for a little bit, snatch up the girl with his tactics, bring her back to his cave lair, and then just keep playing World of Warcraft, right? Being an orc king or something. So basically, isn't that interesting that, we have that kind of inclination to we don't want to fix the larger problem. We don't want to face the complexities. It's look, just give me some shit, I can get a girlfriend, I can move on. And you know what? If that's what you want, try it. See how well it works. I'll see you back in a few months, but try it. Now, the thing is, people want that magic pill, but what is the magic pill? When you're learning tactics upon tactics, essentially what you're doing is it's think like a flabby belly, and then taking out a magic marker and going, six-pack, right? Think of it like the thin veneer of game, you can just paint on the thin veneer, right? And so essentially what happens is you become a more potent and robotic version of the same self that previously could not attract women. The same women-repellent self, but a more tactical version. And you see cases of this all throughout the community. Guys who are quote-unquote addicted to frame control, guys who, very miscalibrated and stuff like that, and they're thinking, where's that next magic pill? Where's the next magic pill, the next easy, quick shortcut? But the truth is, while there are a lot of shortcuts, at the end of the day, what we really need is a deep identity level change. Isn't that true, right? Like, the magic pill doesn't exist, guys. It really doesn't. And, you know, on a certain level, with the magic pills, yes, you can get an interaction going. Yes, you can get some laughter. Maybe you could even get as far as a makeout. But to get to the level where you have, you know, sexual abundance, that's where the deep identity level change comes in. And that's what I really want for you guys. That's what this program is about.
It kind of reminded me of something. One day I've been working on a book, and one day I was having a really bad writer's block, and I said I'm going to go out and just meet women, you know, just to get away from it. And I had just an unbelievable evening, because I was going to women, I was asking them, you know, can you write? I was just really focusing on what I wanted to do, and the women were just like all over. And, and it's funny because because you're talking and putting things together, because I wasn't even interested in meeting them. I mean, it was just like all over me. And it was like, because I was just, no, I want to talk about the book and what's going on in my thought process. And because
Good.
I'm just so totally focused on that. And, you know,
You're on your path.
yeah. That, you know, I mean, it's like looking back, it's like, dude, I could have pulled her or something.
Maybe.
At the same time, maybe, I'll never know.
Yeah.
At the same time, I remember, like, one time I went to this place, and they're like half a dozen really beautiful on this table, and all the guys were afraid of approaching, but I just want to talk about the book, and I want to get their ideas. And so I was going over there, and they were telling me all kinds of things about their life, and it was a great conversation. And I just wasn't even thinking about picking them up, and I left them. You know,
Yes.
right.
Good. Well, we got to learn how to close, okay?
Yeah, that's what.
Check out Ozzy for that. Close! Okay? All right? So look, here's what it comes down to, and this is to wrap up the social conditioning section, then we're going to do a 5-minute break. Ultimately, what you have to understand is this. The magic pill is not what you're looking for here. It's deep identity level change. A man who's attracted to women, the self is always coming through with him. Who you are is always broadcasting out. Always. Without effort, without trying, it just happens. And that's the last sort of principle that we're going to start. Because remember how I came up with the first 3 principles? Being attracted to women is something that you are, not something you do. Being, not doing, and deep identity level change. Well, this is the last introductory principle that I'm going to put to you guys. And this is the major theme of this program as well. The self is always coming through. All right? The self is always coming through. And that is what you guys, when we do this break, I want you to really think about that. That the self is always coming through. What it means is this. If you're a cool guy, you can say the dumbest type of stuff, and you'll get away with it. If you're still working on that inner self, you can say the coolest things in the world, and it doesn't hit. An example would be like, even the body language, something that we would consider to be like a really pure form of attraction. And guys will say to me, is body language important? I say, sure it is. And they say, really? It's really important, right? I say, yeah, but you know what? The self is always coming through. They say, what do you mean? I'll approach a girl like this. I'll put my hands in my pockets, which is considered to be bad. I'll put my things up like this, and I'll go, hi there. Who are you? Who are you? Okay, right? And guess what? Even though this is bad body language, all right? Think about this, guys. Think about it.
But your vibe's neutral.
It's still neutral. It doesn't matter. Think about that. I can go up and say, hey, I like salad.
Good for you.
I like Caesar salad.
Oh, that's wonderful.
But I don't like croutons.
All right.
Do you see my dilemma here?
Yeah.
Okay? That's an opener. Do you want to know another great opener? I do it all the time. It goes like this.
Hi. It's not long ago.
That's the opener.
Wow.
Simple. So simple. You want to know another opener?
Aye.
Want to know another opener?
Anything.
Hey, who are you? Okay. Another good opener. All right. You want to know an awesome opener? Okay? Simple. All right? Those are openers that I use, not necessarily as my best openers, but to show a point. What am I showing?
That you can open with anything, you're non-threatening, your vibe is good.
Self is always coming through.
The self is always coming through.
So basically you're not dependent on response.
Nah, man. The self is always coming through. If a cool guy does that, he'll get a great response. A guy who is doing it like the guy who watches the Blueprint DVD set, and he's like, a stare opener. That's a new magic pill, right? So he's like, ooh. Right? And then there goes, like that, right? Okay? You know? Didn't work, man. I knew this shit don't work. All right? So that, you know, and that's the thing, is that in a lot of ways, since we've done this, we've almost had to come up with like 2 classifications of openers, like openers that work for cool dudes and openers that like newbies have to use, you know, because the truth is, like, it's, you know, the self is always coming through. All right? The self is always coming through. And isn't that liberating? Right? Isn't that a liberating thing? Because you realize that you don't need to keep doing stuff all the time just to attract a girl. And then that brings us back, before we take our break here, to this very first diagram right here, which is that you're not down here. But if you think you are, then of course you're going to have to get fancy to hold her attention. But when you know you're there, the self is coming through, all right, and through the subcommunication. And it's a beautiful thing. And this is where you can become a natural. And this is where, almost going back full circle to where I started my story today, about how I was so paranoid about, like, you know, the media spotlight on this stuff and it wasn't going to work anymore and all that kind of stuff. No, of course not. I love the media spotlight. I think it's great. I watch this stuff. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the people involved in it. I'm a fan of all of it. I love it. I'm not like, oh, no, it's not going to work anymore. How could this stuff stop working? What? Cool people are now off the map for girls? If he seems cool, watch out. Okay? It can't happen. Can't happen.
Either it works or it doesn't.
Yeah, you know, and that's the thing. So look, but here's what else is beautiful is that, and we're going to learn this. We're going to spend 4 days learning this. In being put in a position where I had to let go of the crutches, which was, you know, at the time was very unsettling, it forced me to do something that really deeply benefited me as a whole. And so what I want to encourage you guys to do in this program, okay, as we're wrapping up this introduction here, is I want you guys to take this stuff and use it not only to be phenomenally successful with women, I'm talking ridiculous, but also you're going to use it to become better in every aspect of your life and to make your experience of your life much higher quality. The next thing that we're going to talk about is value and how that leads to rationalization. I want you guys to understand this. Once you understand it, I'm going to warn you, once you guys understand a lot of the stuff we're going to be going over, at first it's going to freak you out because you're going to go back into life and you're going to see it happening all around you and you're going to feel like the kid from Sixth Sense that sees dead people. Okay? That's how it feels. Really, it does. It can feel very isolating because you're going to understand a lot of things and you're going to see it happening in front of you and you're going to start to doubt your own motivations and doubt other people's motivations. But don't worry, there's an uplifting message to all of this, so don't panic. All right. Yes. All right. Value. Okay. To understand value, you have to understand rationalization. Everybody has a concept of who they think they are, what kind of person they think they are. So for example, like I said, everyone's on the side of God, everyone's a good guy. Most people view themselves as having integrity, honesty, you know, depth. They're not shallow, they're not superficial. One of my favorite things to do in LA to be honest, actually, when I'm talking to girls that I know are very superficial, is start talking to them about how bad superficiality is. And they're like, oh, God, I know. Let me tell you. Oh, I can't stand those superficial girls. Okay? It's extremely hilarious. But anyway, me and my buddy Scotty used to do that a lot. But look, understand we all have that concept of, the types of values that we want to have. At the same time, simultaneously, sometimes the things that we value in ourselves, there's a tension that's created there because why? Because sometimes acting selfishly and against the types of values that we like to perceive in ourselves is what would benefit us selfishly. All right? Sometimes to fuck over the next man is in your benefit. Sometimes to ditch your uncool friends to hang out with the popular kid is in your benefit. All right? I'm not saying I agree with it. In fact, the more I've learned about this stuff, the more I act within alignment with my values, and the more I'm completely turned off by that kind of behavior. In fact, to be honest, in the last 2 years, I very rarely hang out with the popular people. I try to hang out with people that, by my own estimation, are good, solid people. I really could give less of a flying you-know-what about popularity. If someone happens to be popular, great. If not, it makes no difference to me. So look, value and rationalization. On one level, you have the person who you think that you are. On another level, you have your biological drives. Your biological drives are always telling you, do what will be good for what? What is value? Survival, reproduction, right? What feels good? That's what your emotions are telling you to do. This creates a tension. How does your mind resolve the tension then? By something called backwards rationalization. All right? Backwards rationalization is something that we all do to various extents. The less you do it, the better in a lot of ways. But look, to feel good about your emotionally motivated actions, as in, like we're still in the driver's seat, it's like we chose to do this, we invent logical reasons for them during or after the fact. This is called backwards rationalization. Nobody's totally exempt from it. We all do it to a certain extent. All of us. I don't care who you are. If you think that you don't rationalize, that is nuts. But the point is, some of us are like, on one end of the continuum, hardcore rationalizers. Others of us, not so much, a little bit more in the driver's seat maybe. Although the truth be told, rationalization is so dominant. All right. Now let's think about how you're perceived. How are you perceived? Most guys think, say they think, I'm a nice guy. Hey, I'm a nice guy. So therefore, people will think that I'm nice. Here's the problem with that kind of thinking. Alley-oop. Wow, look at this, man. It just doesn't end. I had no idea I wrote this much. Value comes first. Don't forget that. Value comes first. What does that mean? Look, if you're sitting there and you're talking to a girl and you're a nice guy, if you have quote-unquote low value, she's probably not really going to notice that you're a nice guy. She might go, oh, he's nice. On the other hand, if you have a high value, you could be a big jerk. But maybe if 1% about you is nice, she's going to focus in on that little 1%. She's going to say, he's the nicest guy. He's an incredibly nice guy. All right? This is how value causes rationalization. Okay? If a girl is like, I'm a nice person, I'm a person of integrity, and she meets a guy who has high value, even if he himself does not have those qualities, it's very likely that she will rationalize inadvertently, not knowing that she's doing it, and impose those qualities onto him. This is why a lot of women have the dilemma and suffer sometimes from dating jerk guys, and they can't figure out why they date these rotten, emotionally unhealthy guys. But yet some of those guys, sometimes these jerk guys, have that confidence, and they just take what they want out of life, and women find that irresistible. So as a result, they wind up with guys that they shouldn't be with. Now look, this whole rationalization thing is affecting you on levels that you're not even realizing. Okay? So look, a girl might say, I don't care, I'm not superficial. I don't care about a guy's value. All that I care about is that he can make me laugh. I don't care about a guy's value. All that I care about is that I feel a connection with him. Well, guess what? When you have value, how easy is it to make a girl laugh? Think about this. If you have enough value, you could walk up to a girl, you could go, okay, and she's going to laugh. You could just go, and she's going to be laughing uncontrollably because you have the value. When you have enough value, sense of humor is automatic. You could do anything. You could do the leprechaun dance. Anything. I'm not even kidding. And the girl will laugh at it uncontrollably. So look, that being the case, think of the high school quarterback, right? Think about the high school quarterback. He's talking to the cheerleader. Whatever he says, what happens? She laughs at it, right? Now, how about connection? Do you guys ever remember the popular kid in school and all the different girls thought that they had a connection with that guy? Do you remember how maybe some of your friends thought they had a connection with Jessica Alba or something like that? They think that they have something in common. They see these slight little things that they have in common, and they think, oh, wow, we have a connection. So isn't it funny that guys, they're trying to learn how to be good with women, and they say, I need to work on my sense of humor. I need to work on how to build a connection with a woman, when in fact, if they were just stronger, they would be coming across easily with those kinds of qualities without any of those problems. I'm not saying that you shouldn't work on how to build a connection with a woman. I'm not saying don't worry about your sense of humor. I'm just making a point that value tends to be a prerequisite. You could say your funniest line, the funniest thing in the world, but if you don't have value in that situation, most of the time, people are not going to take it as seriously as if you did have value. Look, the point is, it's the value that makes the girl receptive to having the idea of a connection in the first place. Without the value, that's, it's probably not going to go. Does that mean that value is everything? Is value everything? Of course not. Value's not everything. It's just that it tends to come first, most of the time, all right? Especially with really attractive women. Generally speaking, value tends to come first. It's not that value is everything, okay? A lot of girls don't even want a guy that's that high of a value because they're not necessarily confident enough to be around it. But the point is that a girl is a lot more likely to really look at you under a microscope, like, wow, let's find out about this guy. Let's see what cool qualities he has. Let's find out more about him if you have the value in the first place. You're gonna get given a lot more of a chance. The girl's going to take her time to get to know you a lot more and take what you have to say a lot more, to heart when you have the value. All right, now look. Let's think about social relationships, okay? One kind of nerd way of calling that would be social alliances. We just call it social alliances as our nerd speak because it kind of covers the broad range of any type of relationships. Now, all people generally tend to be social beings. We like to make friends. We like to build contacts. We like to create bonds. It's cool. It's fun. However, key concept, time and energy are finite. People only have so much time and energy, right? Got it, guys? What do we have a limited time of, or amount of? Time and energy. Good. Because we only have so much time and energy, we're only capable of doing so much. There's only so much that we can do. And because that's the way that we're wired, because that's our nature, we tend to have the behavior pattern where we'll seek out the relationships that benefit us the most. All right? Now again, let's make this clear. This isn't like a set of instructions like, because you only have so much time and energy, I am instructing you to seek the relationships that benefit you the most. I'm not saying that. In fact, as you can kind of see, I have a little bit of contempt for that kind of behavior. I don't judge it, but I don't particularly enjoy it. So look, the point being is that because human beings have this tendency, we need to recognize it. We don't judge it. We don't analyze it. We just say it is what it is. That's the terrain. Do you guys understand that whenever something is the terrain, you don't judge it? Do you guys get that? Like, you're going to die, right? We're all going to die? Is that bad or good? It is what it is, right? It's not bad or good. It's like people have certain tendencies. You can't judge it like, that's wrong, that's bad. It's just, it is what it is. I mean, look, we learn to forgive each other, right? Like, we all do dickhead things, and we somehow learn to forgive each other and find the good in each other. So it just is what it is. Anyway, look, your emotions are designed to guide you. They're designed to guide you towards the relationships that are going to benefit you the most, all right? Look, people hang out for a variety of different reasons. Some motivations would include status, money, sex, or a more pure reason could include knowledge, relating to each other, mutual respect, or just having fun. I've actually really, in the last couple years, moved most of my relationships away from status-based stuff and more just towards relating to people and having fun. I recommend that you do the same. But regardless, people have different motivations for relationships. Where does the longevity of a relationship come in? I want you guys to think about this. The longevity of a relationship. The longevity of a relationship will always be dictated by the value that people continue to get out of it. Even if you have a friend who you just relate to, if you're going to be investing a lot of time and energy into that person, it's probably because you're getting some kind of value out of it, some kind of enjoyment. People will put up with your bullshit if you become all sorry for yourself or negative and the value that you're offering them gets removed. They'll put up with it for a period of time and they'll support you, but eventually they will move on. We know that. That's why it's important to continually keep your shit together, not be a dumbass. All right, so look, every relationship is up for grabs. The second that someone senses that they benefit by directing their time and energy elsewhere, away from an old relationship towards a new one, their mind is wired to start seeking out reasons to do so. Okay? Now, I want you guys to think about it like this. Here's a piece of paper. Let's say that this is your field of perception right here. This is like all of reality within our little green marker box. There's only so much that you can focus on at the same time. There's a word for this. Does anyone know what it is? RAS.
Reticular.
Thank you. Say that. Repeat after me. Reticular activation system.
Reticular activation system.
Good. Say it again. Reticular activation system.
Reticular activation system.
Great. Reticular activation system is that system that all human beings have, at least all properly functioning human beings, that essentially filters out that which is of no value to you and zones in on that which does have value. So essentially, like I said, if you have the hot food a plate being pushed by, you go, woo, you look at it, right? Think of it this way. Say that we're having this conversation, and what girls you guys like? Give me a girl. Carmen Electra, okay? Let's say that Carmen Electra from 10 years ago pops in the door out there, okay? Well, okay? Let's say Carmen Electra from 10 years ago walks in that back door right now, right? And she's like, hey guys, is anyone available? All right? What happens to perception? As great as this might be, what happens to your perception?
Somebody's leaving.
Boom, yeah, someone's leaving, right? So basically what's happening there is the value is shifting, right? What happens if Osama bin Laden just pops in? Hey, I'm back. What's up? Okay? That's called a threat, right? Where does your perception go? I might be like, so anyway, the value thing, the value, right? And you guys are like, oh, and you can't remember anything that was said back up here. Nothing could be remembered. You will be focused there. The focus of your perception has been moved. That is the way that reticular activation system works. Remember that. Reticular activation system is a huge part of attraction, and the very best guys with girls, like the guys who are really, really stellar with girls, can see reticular activation system, like they can see the matrix of it. They can see where all the RAS is in the room all the time. They're always, conscious of it, and they can do all these they can play all these little glitches in the matrix because they see what's happening, okay? So look, what do you focus on? Like what? We think about it this way. If this is your whole field of perception, whenever there's value or a threat, your perception will focus in on that. Well, likewise, the way that you focus in on your existing experience of reality, like the way that reality is unfolding in front of you, you will also, and I don't know if this is RAS or not, or if it's just selective memory, but whatever a scientist would call it, you're also having a very subjective interpretation of past events. All right? So look, say that you have a friend. Say that this is your friend right here, okay? And you have nice memories would count as N, right? A nice memory, a nice memory, a nice memory, a nice memory. But then there's also these bad memories that are here, here, and here, okay? Let's say that the nice memories were like, this person got you a birthday cake, and he remembered got you a Christmas present, and he's just fun, and he's a nice guy, whatever. And then the bad memories are like he was 5 minutes late at the pizza store, he made fun of you once and you didn't like it, and he, I don't know, he snuggled with your teddy bear one night when you're looking for your teddy bear. Whatever, okay? So as random as we can get. So look, at first, the focus is here, right? When there's value in the relationship, the focus is all here. It's like, oh yeah, you know, he did this, he did that. What happens when the relationship begins to deteriorate? When the person is no longer getting the value that they once got out of it, the focus now changes. They go, you know, that guy's always late. That guy is always stealing my fucking teddy bear, right? And he, what was the other bad one? He mocks me. Ugh, right? He mocks me. So the focus begins to change. You can see in your relationships how they're changing. Like, even in guys, let's say not even women, but say with a guy. Maybe at first you have some new dude that you hang out with just as friends. And you're like, hey, let's go get a beer. And even if he's already, or say you say, let's go get a bite to eat. Even if he's already eaten, he's like, yeah, I'll just come down, we'll hang out, whatever. Later, if he's not getting as much value out of the friendship, he's like, oh, well, you know, I'm busy now, whatever. Okay, that's just a symptom. By the way, if your friend says he can't go eat with you, don't start panicking like, oh, Tyler said I'm not offering enough value. Okay, I'm not saying that. All right, I'm just giving it as an example. So, you know, you see this in business all the time. You see business partnerships that at one point were really, really solid, but then when the other partner can recognize that they can make more money by going off on their own, all of a sudden it goes boom, boom, boom. That guy doesn't do this, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do this. Even though there was so much good stuff to focus on, it deteriorates. The same thing happens in relationships. The guys that are the best with women are haunted by this, all right? The guys that are really skilled with women, this is the shit that haunts their dreams at night. Because essentially, when you get really, really good with women, what you start finding is this. Here's a couple things that you'll notice. One is, say that you're talking to a woman and her boyfriend is there, okay? You'll be talking to her. Say that you just start talking like this. Say that her boyfriend's right there. He doesn't like what's going on. So he'll be like, hey, Kathy. What's interesting, he could even follow this. How's this for a mind screw? He can be yelling so loud that you cannot hear yourself talk. Like, you cannot even hear your own voice coming out of your mouth because he's being so obnoxious or whatever. The girl can't hear him, and she can only hear the pitch that's coming from your voice. Okay? This is like, you ever see that movie March of the Penguins? When the penguin moms can hear the voice out through all the different pitches? Well, this same phenomenon will occur whenever we're dealing with attracting women. Like, if you have the value, you can be talking to that girl, and she will be completely absorbed in your conversation. Meanwhile, the person's yelling, and she cannot hear that. You can't even hear your own voice, but somehow she can hear it. I mean, these are extreme examples, all right? These are just extreme outside-the-box examples to get you thinking. Likewise, what girls will also tend to do is, if they like you, they'll do stuff like, say she has a boyfriend she really likes. Well, then all of a sudden, even though their relationship was solid, it's like, oh, well, you know, he did this to me, and I'm not really willing to put up with that aspect anymore, and, you know, stuff like that. Immediately, she starts focusing on the negative in her relationship, all right? That is called, it's the subjective interpretation of past events, essentially. And this is happening all the time. It's happening live, and it's happening in people's memories. This is why you guys ever heard the expression, there's two sides to every story? Comes down to rationalization, right? There's two sides to every story. The thing is, the guys that are really good with women in the field, they know this stuff. They know how to get that RAS pulled in their direction. They're good at it. They know how to do it, and this is why they can do these freaky things. It's actually, you guys know how in every like underground trade or craft, there's like secret tricks to the trade that nobody would ever be able to figure out on their own? What I'm talking about here is one of them. This is like pickup artistry. This is like hardcore underground pickup artistry here. Like when you understand how this works, it's like you can quote unquote see the matrix, and basically you can do things that will like blow people's minds. This is why sometimes you guys see the boot camp reviews where guys are like, my brain just melted. I couldn't believe it's impossible. What he did was impossible. Well, this is because when you can see the RAS unfolding, you know how to pull the energy in your direction. You can do that kind of really advanced stuff. All right. By the way, I'm not advising for you to take someone's girlfriend off them. It's a miserable thing to do. All right, now look. As far as this goes, value. Let's think of how that goes even more in terms of like, you know, when you're sitting there with your friend, right? Think about this, guys. You're sitting there with your friend, you're talking, and a girl goes by. What happens to your attention? Like that. Okay? That's that reticular activation system. Always keep that in mind. Feel yourself doing it. Because guess what? There's more important ways that this causes attraction that you wouldn't even expect. All right. Say that you've got a girl talking to you. Okay? So she's speaking with you. She's trying to get your attention. Tapping. You're talking to your friends. What's the right move? Yeah. What do most guys do? Okay, right? Okay. Right? That's what most guys do. The thing is, that's because their RAS goes like that, right? Then the girl goes, oh, look, I have value. This is all unconscious, by the way. She goes, look, I have value. Okay, cool. All right, so basically she knows that now. She also knows then that probably you are not hooking up with girls of her type of quality. All right, she knows that immediately. Now, when you're just relaxed, say she's tapping, and if you just keep talking to your friends, you go, hold up. You just keep talking to your friend like that, just like you would to any other person that was tapping you, the same way. And by the way, let's make a key distinction here. What most guys do is they try to exaggerate it, right? Like, it's pickup move time. I remember this one from my seminar, okay? All right, that's, you guys heard the expression social robot. So, okay, me being the biggest one in the world. All right, so basically, with what most guys do is they're always trying to, you know, don't react, right? Like, I got to be unreactive now, don't react to it. But what does that come across looking like? If you're trying not to react, to look unreactive, what is that? You're reacting, right? So what you've got to start doing when you want to be real good with women is you want to get in touch with the way that you really are. You got to get in touch with being the person that you're meant to be. Get in touch with the way that you naturally act around all people, all right? If one of your guy friends were to come and poke you, you wouldn't be like, I'm not going to even talk to him, okay? You're not going to do that. You would just go, oh, hey, dude, hold up, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, so what's up, right? You would just be normal, okay? So that's, you know, when you might have heard me saying stuff like be normal, like the key to all pickup, be normal. Well, when you can be normal around phenomenally attractive women, that's always going to get a lot of pull of attraction in your direction, okay? So the thing is, with this whole RAS thing, you can see, like you're pulling, you know how to pull, we'll talk about this later, how to pull the social energy in your direction, but then you also know how to make people fight to get within your field of vision, okay? And basically how girls will play, like the game that they play is trying to get you to react to them, trying to get you to, I guess they're trying to get into your RAS. That's really what's happening. They're trying to get into it, okay? Just keep it in mind, guys. Isn't it amazing, too, as a side note, how, has anyone here ever just started dating a girl who had a boyfriend, and then she actually goes and creates a fake fight with the boyfriend so she can feel good about what she's doing? Anyone here ever had that? Yeah, it's nuts, huh? It is nuts. Crazy jungle out there. All right, so look. Point is, look, people sustain relationships by focusing what they get out of it. When the value changes, what they focus on is subject to change. It's not a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It just is what it is. Now, look. What you should and should not take from this. All right. Pause. Okay? Pause. All right? Before we go any further, what you should and should not take from this. A lot of guys hear this stuff, and then they start to see it. All right? And I teach this to you because I want you guys to get total mastery in this area. But what winds up happening is guys start thinking that everyone is rationalizing against them, right? This guy's a big rationalizer, and that guy's a big rationalizer. It's like when people learn about the ego, and then suddenly they're saying, this guy's got a big ego, and that guy's got a big ego, and you know, this guy's being egotistical and stuff like that, right? It's like, it's just ridiculous. Don't start walking through life thinking that people are rationalizing against you. That's called a loser mentality, a victim mentality. You guys ever heard of a self-fulfilling prophecy? Well, if you're thinking that everyone is out to rationalize against you, what's going to happen? You're going to create that, all right? So don't let it happen, okay? Don't let it happen. Don't start thinking like that. Look, to be really phenomenal in this area, you have to be able to hold paradoxical realities in your mind and not be bothered by the paradox, okay? Remember that, guys. You have to, on one level, look, on one level you can know what's going on. Like you can see, okay, this is going on. But on another level, you shouldn't be like focusing on, look, is this guy rationalizing this girl rationalizing. Well, right, it's like you can recognize it, but at the same time, you just chill and you like assume the best. In fact, generally speaking, you want to assume that all people are really good-natured, people are really friendly, people are really positive, people are your friends, like everyone in the world is your friend, and you wish good things on all people, and then probably they wish all good things on you. But then simultaneously, you also have to be aware of how things can work, right? And these are two paradoxical realities that you hold in your mind that you can shift in and out of as needed. So, the most liberating mindset is this. Accept that the world owes you nothing, and that in the long run you'll get back no more, no less than you deserve. All right? I can't even stress that enough. Just accept that the world owes you nothing. Don't be trying to take value where you don't deserve it. Don't even be trying to feel like, even where you do deserve value, don't even get caught up in it. Like, you know, I'm being nice here, and this person isn't recognizing it. Just don't worry about it, guys, okay? The world's a light place, really. Let it just be a light place. Don't get caught up in this stuff. I just want to let you guys know about it because no master at this could really exist without understanding it. But at the same time, don't focus on it. So let's move on. The magnet. Value is a magnet. Like I said, it's dragging around your perception all the time. How do you know when you have value and you don't have value? Let's think about this. Okay. Let's hop up some gentlemen here. Hop up, guys. Give me 5 people here. You 4, you want to hop up? Hop up for me. Okay? Just come right here. Just hop on up here. Come on up, guys. All right. Thank you so much for indulging me. Okay. So look, let's say that you are the pimp here. Okay? Cool. You're a big pimp. You like that, huh? Okay. And, all right, and let's say that we are the group of girls, okay? All right, now let's think about this, okay? Let's say that we're talking. He's going to come in and he's going to begin conversing with us. Let's say that he has no value, right? He just isn't communicating value. Well, here, come in and say hi, and how would we react based on what we just talked about? Go ahead.
Hey, what's up?
Oh, hey, how's it going?
Yeah, pretty good.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so, yeah. Yeah, okay. You see that? It's like the crane of the neck, boom. Now, how about, what if he has value? Let's do the same little thing again, just to hammer this point home. Go ahead.
Hey, what's up?
Oh, hey.
Oh. Yeah, I was just looking at you, and I just want to tell you, you're fucking gorgeous, man.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Then now they get all catty and they go, ah, all right. All right. Okay. So you guys see the difference here? Okay. So that what's going on is, on one level, you see like kind of just like the craning of the neck, back to the group, right? Close-ended answers, right? You know, how's it go? Like, oh, you think I'm beautiful? Oh, thanks. Right? You know, how's your night going? Good. Boom. When you have value, it's all, oh. Whoosh. Turns like this, smiles, maybe some touching. Open-ended answers, like, you know, maybe, like she's allowing the conversation to pursue. You guys understand that? Yeah. Okay? Give these guys a clap for coming up here. Thank you, guys. Okay, hop down. Okay. So, look, that's how you know if you have value or not. Is your magnet strong? Is your magnet weak? All right? When you have a lot of value, people will listen to what you have to say and they'll try to impress you in conversation. When you don't have value, no go. Likewise, when you have value, if you say, hey, why don't we go eat at this restaurant? Okay, boom, you can move it over, right? When you don't have value, you try to move it forward, and they're too busy. Okay? A lot of guys are like, oh, you know, I asked her this, she said she couldn't go. Nah, dude, if you'd had more value, she would have gone. Not all the time, okay? Don't go down that route of like getting a low self-esteem and stuff like that if people don't go. Believe me, I ask girls to restaurants all the time. A lot of time they say no. And it's not a value issue, it's just a logistical issue with their friends and whatnot. But the point is, when your magnet is strong, people, you know, if you change the direction of the conversation, they're into it. If you say, let's change the venue, they're into it. If you say, let's, here, come talk to me, they're into it. When you don't have the value, no go. All right? Now look, I want you to think of this as a warm end and a cold end of the pool. Okay? Warm end and cold end of the pool. So what that means is like this. Everyone wants to be in the warm end of the pool, right? Everyone likes the hot tub.
Yeah.
Everyone likes the hot tub, yeah. Right? So basically, No one wants to get kicked out of the hot tub. No one wants to be in the chode end of the table, right? You know when you're at a big dinner table? Everyone wants to be at the cool person end. They don't want to be at the boring end, where everyone kind of just sits there looking over at the cool end. Okay? By the way, one thing I always do, I view it like the party's with me wherever I go. So I will sit arbitrarily. I don't mind sitting with people that aren't as popular and stuff like that because I'm going to make that the fun end. I'm not looking for other people for stimulation. I'd recommend you do the same. I really recommend that. Make that a habit. But point is, no one wants to get kicked out of the warm end of the pool. Okay? You ever had a buddy that doesn't make you look good in a social situation even though he's a close friend? Maybe it's harder to stay near him in the environment, right? Same kind of thing. I think a good person doesn't let that get to them. If they're with their buddy, they're with their buddy. But the point is, some people can't handle that. You know, they're all best friends, and then when they're put in a different situation, it's not so good. All right? The natural inclination is just to slip into the pool where it feels good. Have you guys ever been talking to a group of people, and maybe you just found yourself addressing one specific person who is the most popular because you're trying to get their approval? All right? You can see this. If you're in a group, if you're in a circle, you might start to, you kind of talk to everyone equally, but you're kind of looking at this one main guy. We call that the anchor of the conversation. All right? The anchor of the conversation is the one who everyone's trying to get their approval. Everyone is listening to them. You know, they're dictating the reality there, essentially.
So that's like when you approach a group of girls, you find yourself talking to the one that's just the target and ignoring the rest.
Yes. And what that does is shows her that you place extremely high value on the interaction, therefore causing you to not look as attractive. Other times, however, by going for the girl you want, it looks attractive because you take what you want. You're not some bullshitter who's indecisive. So it's two sides to every coin. All right, so look. Next concept. Guess what, guys? Value. You don't like it? How about now? How about now? How about now, man? I think I goofed that one up last time too, didn't I? All right, look. Everything changes based on the situation. You know that same buddy that made you look bad in one situation? Well, guess what? Maybe if you go hang out in his environment with his friends, he makes you look pretty darn good, and now suddenly you find yourself clinging onto him. Okay? That leads us to the next term. We call it situational value. Social value can come as a result of a specific situation. All right? It's a form of value that isn't worth anything on its own, but in a particular situation, as a result of the environment, is worth a lot. A couple examples. The professor who gives the inspiring lecture in the classroom. The performer playing a concert. The guy throwing the party at his house. The DJ playing the music that everybody loves. The celebrity that everyone is whispering about, glances at. The bartender or the promoter with continual flows of people wanting something from them. All of those guys benefit from an increase in their situational value. The environment gives them a status that they wouldn't have on their own. And this leads to the next thing, which we call situational confidence. Situational confidence. What is it? Situational confidence is like this. If you know that you can anticipate a positive response because of your environment, you're going to feel confident. Does everyone here have one environment at least where they feel totally confident? Good. Okay? Everyone has that one environment where you feel like you can be you and you don't feel stifled in any way, shape, or form. So let's think about it. Take the professor. You've got a professor in school, maybe college, high school, if you think back. When he's speaking, if he has the respect of the class, typically the kids are not going to speak with the same depth, like resonation in their voice, the same conviction, that kind of thing, except usually that one rebel in the class, and by coincidence he's popular with the girls. Likewise, the guy throwing the party. He walks over to the group, introduces himself, everyone goes, just like we showed, oh, hey, right? Maybe they don't know that he's the host of the party. So he goes, oh, hey, what's up? And they're just like, oh, yeah, what's up? And then later they find out that's the host. It's like, oh, hey. right? Funny how that works, especially in the city that we're in right now. All right? Oh, man, we used to throw a couple parties, let me tell you. Next, the bartender. He's in the bar, right? What happens when you put the bartender into a lecture hall? What happens to his confidence, his authority? It goes down. What happens when you put the lecture professor into a bar? Right? His behavior changes. Okay? There are simple changes in his behavior. That's the result of situational confidence. When you can assume value because of the environment, you have situational confidence. Think about that. You're like, hey, look, I've got value in this situation. I can just assume value. Now think of it this way. Value basically prompts you to be more attractive. All right, think about that, guys. How does value, knowing that you have value, how does it prompt you to be more attractive? Well, here's the most basic of basic distinctions. Really key this in. This is an important one. The most basic distinction that I can come up with is when you know that you have value, you will tend to be outside of your head. And when you don't think that you have value, you will tend to be inside your head. All right? Outside your head, inside your head. Another way that we call that, another expression, when you know that you have value and you have nothing to be concerned about in this world, you tend to be in the moment. When you don't believe that you have value, you tend to be what's called micromanaging. All right? So, in your head and in the moment, outside your head and in the moment, in your head and micromanaging. What an irony! What an irony! When you have value, you'll naturally behave in ways that just are in alignment with that. But when you need it most, to actually act confident, you will start thinking about it. Oh, how can I act confident? How can I make these people like me? Is that good enough? Is that good enough what I said? And how attractive is that? That's not going to attract anybody. That's only going to turn girls off. It's going to make you contrived. It's going to make you unnatural. All right? That is why you want to be outside your head and in the moment. So, some symptoms. When you're outside your head, you are enjoying yourself, acting in the moment, letting your real personality come out, saying what's on your mind, being unaffected by how other people react, being detached from the outcome of any one particular interaction, taking things as they come. You guys ever heard the expression, taking things as they come? Fucking fantastic. All right? Being fully present to what's going on around you and assuming and expecting that everyone is your friend. That's called in the moment, outside your head. What about when you're in your head? Okay? When you're in your head, you are not enjoying the moment for what it is. Think about that. You're not enjoying the moment for what it is, and you're always saying to yourself, look, here's the key. Here is the key, the underlying key to all of this. How can I make this moment better? That's the key right there. You're like, I'm not happy with the way things are. Like, I'm not comfortable with my social status here. How can I make things better? How can I get more status? How can I get more liked? How can I get more acceptance? How can I get more validation? That's when you go in your head. How can I make the moment better, not just enjoying it for what it is? Makes you feel unnatural, forced, needy, contrived. When you're in your head, what are the symptoms? Trying to change your personality specifically to make people like you. Feeling flustered by all the social things that you think you need to be doing. Being emotionally affected by other people's reactions. Feeling like some particular interaction has to work or you might not get another chance. That is huge, by the way. Feeling like this has to work or I won't get another chance of a girl with this quality for a while. Oh my God, like how to not get the girl 101. Trying to think, oh, horrible. Oh, like I'm like wanting to vomit all over my screen when reading this. Trying to think a step ahead and analyze how everyone will respond to you. Being too stuck in your mind to really even pay attention to what's going on around you. And feeling like you're being judged. Look, you want to know the best way to make people like you? It's the best way. This is the key. I've got the key for you guys. This is it. If you could just do this, you've got it. Just express your personality freely and let the chips fall where they may. That's the number one way to make people like you. Not everyone's going to like you. Some people are going to hate you, right? There's going to be haters when you do that. A lot of people hate it when someone can express their personality freely and not care because there's envy there. But the point is, if you can just express your personality freely and let the chips fall where they may, the majority of the time, that's going to be in your best interest. That's what's going to be the most attractive both to women and to people in general. All right? And when I say people in general, that's because, of course, a guy who's a good people person is naturally going to be good with women most of the time. Don't try to influence it. Look, I want you guys to think about this almost like a religion. It implies that you're secure with who you are and that you probably have the value to back it up. All right? Think about that. Express your personality freely and let the chips fall where they may. What does it imply? You're cool with who you are, and you probably have the value to back it up. Isn't that interesting? It's by trying less and just expressing yourself and being you, you're actually communicating more value than if you're trying to communicate value. Isn't that funny? Right? It's a very Taoist concept, right? In action.
Could you repeat that, please?
Which part?
Well, the last one about the last sentence you're saying about when you're trying to add value, you're basically not, but when you're not.
Yeah, because you're like, this is like most guys. Okay, there's the girl. Eye contact. Voice. Funny lines. Hey. Right? Okay? That's the, and then, okay, got to do this, right? Then they're going into their head, like, where's my next piece? Where's my next line? Right? They're going into their head. Okay? What you'll find when you start using this kind of way of doing things is that anytime you go into your head to try to impress, you lose the girl. When you just chill, stay outside your head and enjoy the moment, it's like a magnet, and it just draws her towards you. So really try to remember that one. In fact, what I just said there, that little bit that I just said there where I said, when you really get into this, anytime that you go into your head, you find that you repel the girl, and when you just stay outside of your head, even if what you're saying is not as intelligent as if you would have gone into your head to fish it out, you'll still hold more attraction. And when you start to notice this, it's really going to mess with your head because you're going to be talking to the girl, and you're just saying nonsense, and she's completely into it. And then you think of and then she'll say something that will trigger your association in your mind of some cool thing that you want to say. But as soon as you have to you're like, oh, what's that really cool thing that I can do to prove myself and impress her? And as soon as you go into your head to try to impress her, even though what you said was impressive, she'll go, oh, that's really cool. Anyway, it was nice to meet you, right? Boom, later, okay? And you'll see that. You'll start to notice it. And it took me after I noticed it, it took me probably 3 months to even admit to myself that was going on. And then maybe another year to stop that habit of going into my head to try to drop my little smart, clever things. All right, so it does take time. But you know what's cool? When you actually can stop being in that mode where you're always trying to impress the person, even in subtle ways, even if you know not to quote unquote qualify yourself, just stop subtly trying to impress people. You can just enjoy being with them. You can just enjoy this very refreshing kind of vibe. And because so few guys are capable of doing that, women will very, very often tend to find that very attractive because it's conveying. Look, think of it this way. Say that you've got some impressive thing, right? You make a lot of money, or you climb some cool mountain, or just whatever it is that you're trying to think of. Okay, and then you're with the girl. What if rather than mentioning that, maybe you just save that one? Okay, maybe save it for deeper in the relationship, whatever. And just if it comes out, it comes out. All right, don't get me wrong. Stuff comes out. Right? Stuff that's impressive that you did comes out. It will come out. But if you're having to break the vibe and kind of go into your head to try to seek a reaction, what you're going to find is you would have been better off just to be chill. Because what is it communicating if you could have just stayed outside your head and vibed? You're communicating so many more powerful qualities. The qualities that you're going to be communicating when you just vibe, it says, showing that you probably have the value to back it up. Probably that you have a lot of friends in this world that you don't even need anymore, but maybe you're just enjoying her company, you're just enjoying talking to her, but you've got 5 girls at home and you don't even need anything, and therefore you're not even trying, right? And what you're sub-communicating is so much more powerful when you can just be in the moment and allow the words to arise and just sort of come out. You guys don't need to understand that, by the way. You'll understand that by the end of the 3rd day probably. This is the first day. We'll go in really in depth with what I'm talking about soon enough.